So it never fails. You've left QBOT. Maybe you went to lunch. Maybe you went upstairs to get a cup of coffee. Maybe you just left the room and said, you know, I'm just going to let it run until the end. And then you forget that you didn't have a full bobbin in your sewing machine. So you come back to a mess that looks like this. This is thread just laying on the top of your fabric that's trying to stitch, but it really didn't because there was no bobbin. So the question is, what do? Well, it went all the way to the end. And right now on my QBOT, it says quilt and then the design done. It's finished. And I'm going to need to do something with that same design. So don't touch QBOT quite yet. If you tell QBOT another, because the second line says another, overlay or exit. When you tell QBOT another, it's going to connect the designs together. So that's really not what we need. We need to tell QBOT overlay. So I'm going to slide my machine over. I'm going to move the camera so you can see what QBOT says. Okay? And we're going to tell it overlay. All right? And it says go equals move to start. Now I could go down and put it close to the start. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the go, and then I'm going to immediately push the stop. So now it says quilting stopped, continue, percent restart, or end. I'm going to go to percent restart, and I'm going to estimate or guesstimate, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to estimate what that percent is. Now, when I look at this, I notice that the design is not quite halfway, but almost halfway. So I'm going to either go down or up, whichever one's closer. It doesn't matter which direction. I'm going to hold, long hold, my arrow, and I'm going to take it back to, say, 48%. And then I'm going to press go. It says raise needle, press go to hover. Hover is the mode of where it's trying to locate what we are asking it to do. So if you look up here, it is thinking. QBOT is thinking, trying to find the right spot, while I'm moving all of this thread mess that I made, because I left, I went to lunch, and I said, you know, I'm sure I've got enough bobbin, and something inevitable usually happens, and it did. So I'm moving all of the thread off of my frame that's laying on top. Sometimes it's connected into the fabric, but it really isn't. It just seems like it is. So don't panic when you pull it up. It's not going to hurt anything. If you have holes in your fabric and you're worried about that, those will steam out, so don't worry about that, because this may happen to you, and we want you to know how to get back. So it's scaling. This scaling process, depending on how big the change is with your design or how big the design is, the scaling process varies. So now you see it says 47% done. In order to get to 48%, it has to go to 47. Now I can see by looking at where QBOT is taking the machine right now that I haven't gone back far enough. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to return to percent restart. So I've moved the cursor to percent restart, and I'm going to back up maybe 3 more percent. So actually I went back to 44%, raise needle, my needle is up, press go to hover, we'll let it think. So the great thing is if you didn't go back far enough or you did go too far, you can always do your percent restart again. Now, once you get it to where it needs to be before the thread has broken in the stitching area, you're in control of stopping the QBOT. So you need to stop the QBOT and restart it when you want that thread to start. I like to stop about 1 inch to a 1/2 inch before that thread had broken. That way I can lock it and bury or do what I need to do to secure those pieces. So percent restart, if it happens in the middle of a design, now you know how to back up. So I'm going to finish quilting my quilt piece here, and you learn how to do percent restart. Happy quilting!